Hey mamas, this is Playfully Faithful Parenting, and I'm your host, Joy Wendling. I'm a seminary grad and children's and family minister turned stay-at-home mom to my 5 girls. Spiritual parenting is my calling, and it's my passion to help other mamas disciple their kids using the power of play and their own authentic daily walk with Christ. If you're a mama who wants to introduce your kids to Jesus and watch as the Holy Spirit transforms their lives, this is the place for you. I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive in and see how we can partner with God today. Hey mamas, happy Thanksgiving week. If you are listening in real time and you live in the US, then this week is Thanksgiving. I am so excited for this week with my family because there's only 2 days of school, which means we all get to be home and just be together on Wednesday, which is really fantastic for us. And our dear friend, family member, our Allie is going to be joining us for a special dinner on Wednesday, just a little family dinner. And we are so excited about that. And then all the cooking, of course, right? And I just want to help encourage you this week about having realistic expectations and a few tips on helping your kids to understand a little bit about gratitude. This week is about gratitude, right? And I am recording this on Sunday before Thanksgiving. We at church have a service called Come to the Table. And this month we've been focused on gratitude. And we talked about communion, and we had communion today. And we looked at it that the communion meal that the early church shared together was a full meal. It wasn't just the bread and the wine or juice that we use for communion now. And one of the names of communion is Eucharist, which is Thanksgiving. It's about giving thanks. And so the pilgrims, in all of whatever way you want to recognize and consider the story of the pilgrims, they were really celebrating something even deeper. And the Eucharist is a Thanksgiving meal, which goes back to Jesus, goes back to the early church. And so this week is an opportunity for us to remember Jesus, and not just to be grateful for this week and for the food, but really who Jesus is and what he's done, and that we get to live a life of blessing. So just want to share a little bit about gratitude. So I have a blog on Pathos, a column on Pathos that you can find called Parenting with Joy. And so my article this week, this past Saturday, I posted about gratitude and can kids be grateful? So I just wanted to follow up with that and kind of share similar information here on the podcast and help you to learn what I learned about it as I was researching. So kids can be grateful. They need some help. And it is also something that they will grow in, right? So it is the idea of gratitude is very abstract. It is a feeling that we then help our children to learn to express. And so there are several parts of it that will grow and develop with our children as they grow and develop. So about 3-ish, 2-3, they can learn to say thank you out of a taught expectancy in certain situations, right? You hand them something, they've learned to say thank you. That is not necessarily an overflow of true appreciation. That is us trying to teach our children manners, okay? And sometimes this can backfire. And when we force, just like with anything in our faith, when we force gratitude, it becomes a chore and not a choice. And then we're actually pushing our children away from gratitude and expressing gratitude from the overflow of their heart. And so, yes, I think there's a space for us to teach our children niceties and manners and thank you. But when we force it and there is pushback, then we want to be very careful and we want to tread lightly, because we don't want to push our children into gratitude and into expressing gratitude that they're not feeling, and then have them kind of push away from it. The same way with faith. We don't want to give our kids the behaviors of faith without the heart. We don't want to help our kids live a lie of the behaviors of gratitude without the heart behind it. And so 4 ways we can help our kids is 1, model. We always need to model. So we can model being grateful. We can model it to them. We can model it in front of them, to God, to our spouse, to people in the community and our family. Model. We always start with ourselves. It comes down to our heart, our love, our faith with God. Is where we always start. Love, teach, play. Love first. Love God first. Be grateful to God first. And then do that out loud so your kids can see. Next, children learn gratitude from relationships first. Children, young children especially, are learning about their place in the world. And so for them, they can not just automatically be grateful for a farmer who provides milk without it having some kind of relationship back to them. So we need to help make those connections, help them to see the relationships, help them to see how things impact them. Not because our children are selfish, but because our children are trying to figure out what is their space in the world. What does that look like for them? And so when we can help make those connections to them and to the impact it has on them and their life, they're going to be able to more easily understand gratitude for something. Yes, it is kind of selfish, self-centered, but not in a egotistical kind of way, but in a really they're trying to figure out who they are in the world. So it is not in a sinful, bad, selfish, but that is just the reality of children's thought process, right? Okay. Next, along the lines of how kids think, concrete. They are concrete thinkers, and gratitude can be a very abstract thing. So before we jump to this place of helping our kids, what are you grateful for? We need to make it a little bit more a little more concrete for them. Start with, what are some good things? What are good things? Can you see good? What things do you like? Then, those are concrete things. Then, how do those things make you feel? Then you can tie these feelings to the things. And then you can talk about this feeling of gratitude. And so it's a progression, and it's not one that we can just skip over. And you can't just say to a 2-year-old, what are you grateful for at the Thanksgiving table, and expect an answer that makes sense because that is not a concrete question for them. Kids are abstract thinkers up until about 11 or 12, which is when full and deep expressions of gratitude really begin, according to the research that I've read. So start with what things are good in your life, then tie those to emotions, and then teach about the emotion of gratitude and expressing that. So start with concrete things and then help them tie it through relationships with themselves and modeling. Okay. So we've got model, we've got think about relationships, we've got think about your thinkers, your concrete thinkers. Finally, be playful, obviously, right? Okay. Love, teach, play. Love, we're modeling. Teach, we're thinking about relationships and concrete ideas. Play, we're going to practice gratitude with our kids in playful ways. You can make silly songs about things that you're grateful for, about saying thank you in silly ways. You can tell your kids that you are grateful for their quirks. You can tickle them and tell them that you are thankful for each part of their body and use fun adjectives like, oh, I'm so thankful for those little stinky feet and this cute little button nose and these hands that help me with the dishes and, those kinds of things. So tell your kids that you're grateful for their quirks and who they are. You can make cookies to show gratitude to your own kids, to your spouse, with your kids, or make them and deliver them to someone else. Do an art project to share with someone. Make thank you cards. You can choose to video chat randomly with grandma or some other family member just to tell her that you love her and you're grateful for her. Go buy a helium balloon for a friend and take it to their house just to tell your friend, I'm so glad we are friends. And let your kids pick a friend. And maybe you do this once a week or once a month or something like that. You can say playful thank you prayers to God. My kids love to talk to God, and we talk sometimes about our favorite things. And so we will all say, we'll be in the van and we'll say, everybody tell God your favorite animal. And we all shout out our favorite animal. And then I say, thank you for all these fun animals. And then our favorite color, favorite ice cream, favorite food, favorite plants, favorite birds, all these things. And we just shout them out together. And then we say thank you to God for them. You can create a blessing boogie. Make a little dance. So whenever you're grateful for something, then you just do a little dance for it. Or you can sing blessings before the meals, which I talked about a couple weeks ago. And there is a link in the show notes to get, I think it's 16 or 17 free blessings that you can print out and use them at meals. So those are some really simple ways to playfully practice gratitude together. One of my favorites is also just making a super long list of things we're grateful for together as a family. And we'll do like 100 if we want to do all of it at one time, or we could do 200 to 500 if we're going to do it over a period of time. And just thinking about those things, and that can help kids understand gratitude as well. So, mamas, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for this opportunity to share with moms around the world, like 50 different countries or more. Moms in more than 50 countries are listening to this podcast week after week. And I'm so, so grateful for that. And I am hitting charts. This podcast, we're hitting charts in countries that my kids have never even heard of and that I can't actually place on a map. So it is amazing. And I'm just so grateful for that. If you find this podcast helpful, would you please share it with a friend? Would you post a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to it? Would you just do that and help me? I just so appreciate that. But really, whether you do that or not, I am just so thankful for you and thankful that we get to do this motherhood, this play-based discipleship thing together. So on behalf of God, thank you for loving and playing with his kids. Go check out the blessings, download them if you haven't already. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and don't stress if your kids don't seem to understand gratitude. It might be perfectly developmentally appropriate for them to not really understand it. Think about the good things together and then keep modeling. Bye, mamas. So much love. Well, mamas, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me on Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'd love to keep the conversation going over on the socials. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you felt encouraged or equipped by today's show, do me a favor and leave a review. I can't wait to hear your story. Till next week, keep playing and pointing those littles to Christ.